This is the retire early dream. This is Busey, where your dreams and possibilities become moments through trusted guidance and expertise, through lifelong relationships. Because we're here to help you achieve the life you've always envisioned.
I can't wait, Ked, until they get an Illini guys version of that thing where you'll be sitting there talking to some person about all the money you're making, and then, of course, we'll have Sturdy with a bank, a whole truck of money. Hey, Brad. So Brad, you were there. I'm not certain if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Any thoughts on what you saw tonight?
It was hard to watch. I mean, the good thing is you guys could change the channel or at least look away. I was stuck. It was like burning my retinas watching that. So, but no, Maryland came out, hit him in the mouth, made some shots early. They let Rice get going, and they just didn't have any. Brad Underwood, talking to him in the locker room after the game, he said that they just didn't have any energy even pregame. It was almost like, and some people said they were intimidated or scared, nervous. I think that they just weren't prepared for the way that Maryland defends. They're so good defensively, and then so it kind of affected them on their defensive end, but they just didn't do a good job. They didn't have any didn't stay connected to their guys, let Rice get free, and then they got free runs to the basket. So it was really a poor defensive effort, and that set the tone. You can't give up 57 points and a half and expect to win very often, unless you're playing Iowa maybe. But this is this is a really bad defensive performance, and Brad said it was on him. He didn't have them ready. They were kind of not they weren't very excited or hyped like they were yesterday for the game, and I think that showed when they got out on the court.
How does that happen, Brad?
Young guys, man. This is a team that in their high major wins, they average winning by 15 points a game. In their high major losses, they average losing by 15 points a game or 14 point something. This is a team that is the most bipolar group I think I've ever seen. And a lot of that is because your key players are young. They're young guys. You're relying on freshmen to do a lot of things for you, or guys, even if they're, I don't know what Ivasic is, freshman, sophomore, I don't know. But you rely on these guys who haven't ever played in college basketball hardly, and so you're relying on them to be your leaders, to take charge. And when you do that, you're going to have days when you're good, and you're going to have days when you're bad. I mean, I'm sure Marcus can tell you that early in his career they were maybe not always connected as well as they were in that last year when they looked like they were, every game they brought it like it was a war. So I think that's common, but you can't afford it now. And when it's one and done, you can't afford to have a bad day. I guess talking to Kylan and Boswell after the game, he said, last time we got beat like this, we went 4 in a row. So let's do that again, and then we'll be in the Final Four.
Confidence is one of those things that can change. And I wanted, after the Duke game, I needed to see Illinois play some games, because I would have been afraid after the Duke game if we went straight into conference tournament to NCAA tournament. Because confidence, you got to ring over some victories, play well to have that confidence. Now they finna go straight into the NCAA tournament with this taste in their mouth. How are they feeling? Are they physically, mentally feeling like they can get the job done? And all year, this team has been like this roller coaster all year long, with sickness, with injuries. I just don't know where their confidence is at right now. Man, I wish they would have played. If it would have been a closer game and just lost at the end, you'd be like, okay, they fighting, they hungry, you see it. But to get hit in the mouth like that and not respond like the heart of a champion, like you're trying to win championships, it's just way that you got to respond. And it was just sad to see that.
It was like Mike Tyson against Michael Spinks. Not gonna lie, that's what it reminded me of.
Yep. Peter McNeely.
Yeah. No, I think there are things. I was talking to Perez Johnson too in the locker room. He mentioned how they really got away from what they didn't even follow their scouting report and game plans. They just kind of lost guys that they weren't supposed to lose. They didn't play the right ball screen coverage at times. They didn't get it. Just all the defensive breakdowns. The help didn't come from the right spot. He was talking about how all the things we practice now. and talking to them, maybe it's some of these guys, it's the first time they had played, back-to-back days
Yeah.
where you had that one, no prep. So it was just like, get back to the hotel, go through scouting. But, and so I guess they didn't really have the normal, like what you would say, like at 1 day prep that you normally get. And so maybe these young guys struggled with that. That's the only thing I can think, because both Perez Johnson and Kylan and KJ talked about how they really got away from their scouting reports and not following the game plan, which was pretty evident when it was about 29-10 early on.
Hey, somebody just posted here real quick. I don't know if it's a factual post that Kevin Willer said after the game. He knew Illinois was young. You could go at them and be very physical. I think they have struggled and lost to all the teams that were physical with them. I think that's probably a fair assessment.
Yeah, Willard actually, one thing Willard said too was he said we're so different than Iowa in the way we play. So it was he said it was an advantage for us to play them after they played Iowa, because Iowa doesn't protect the rim. He didn't really go into details, but Iowa doesn't protect the rim. And Maryland has two guys who are tremendous rim protectors. And so you basically can get whatever you want against Iowa, and then against Maryland, there's guys there. So it made it, they were passive. They were afraid to go to the rim because they thought they might get a shot blocked or didn't think they could finish, all those things. And so, yeah, I think that's true. I think, and Maryland's going to have a game plan. They're old guys, Reese is older. Queen's not older, but he's really, really good. And, but I think they got some old guys, and they were prepared and they were ready to go and rested and fresh and just really got after Illinois. And Illinois couldn't, sometimes you do get hit in the mouth. You got to figure out how you're going to, handle it. And they did not respond well.
Nope.
No, I agree with that. And, that you'd like to think I guess from a construction standpoint, Brad, will we see Illinois in the portal this year? Will they be looking to do what Underwood said last year was his goal, which is to get old and stay old?
They need to do that. They have to.
I appreciate you being able to come out too.
I also think you have to have continuity. You can't just get 10 new guys every year. It just doesn't work. You got to have some core guys returning. Last year, they had old guys, a lot of new guys in the portal that were old, but you brought back Terrence Shannon and Coleman Hawkins, and that makes a huge difference to have those guys who have been through the wars and knew what they were supposed to be doing. And I think that's where they got to have some guys come back that are key pieces. And I know some people think, well, this guy's this, that, and the other. We have shiny new toy syndrome now with the portal. Every guy in the portal is better than the guy you have. And even if he did it against some team in the MAC where they don't even attempt to play defense, he put up good numbers. Well, he's the best player ever, and the guy you have who just competed in the Big Ten isn't good enough. And that's what happens. And fans are like this, and the coaches can't get like that. You know what I mean? You got to make sure you have some continuity, and but they're going to need some guys who can score next year. Because you lose a lot of. You're going to obviously lose KJ, and who creates a lot, and you're going to probably lose Will Riley, who creates a lot. His stock's gone up, and so we're going to have to find some guys who can score, and some guys who can create offense.
Can I ask you gentlemen a question? When was the last Big Ten led, freshman led Big Ten team that had success in the Big Ten?
Wow.
It's been a while.
Greg Oden, Ohio State.
Yeah. And Greg Oden at that time was probably
60.
He also had he's 42 years old. So at the age of 18. So and then Mike Conley. So you had the one pick and two top 10 picks there, and that's so I guess it's possible, but it's not very likely, right? The Fab Five did well, but Fab Five did well. It was a different era, and I also think it's even worse now because of all the COVID years that people are still using this year. So guys are like 25 and 26 years old against 18 and 19-year-olds. And I don't know about you, but I was a lot stronger at 25, 26 than I was at 18 or 19.
Oh, yeah. Agree.
By that time, Brad had over 300 credit hours, too.
I did. I was Dr. Sturdy at that point. So,
well, I guess as I look at this, Brad, we were kind of bouncing around trying to figure out what Illinois feels good about coming out of this this game, and all I could come up with was Will Riley played well at the end, and Morez hustled the whole game. Beyond that, did you see anything that made you go, "Hey, here's something they can build on"?
Well, I mean, I think it's just I think the hard part about that is it's one game. You can it's one loss, and
Yeah.
you're going to lose games occasionally. I mean, it was a bad loss, and they sucked. But then you look at it and say, well, maybe it's good to get it out of the way. But the one thing I liked about their demeanor was, and it was both Boswell said this, Merez Johnson said this, and they both said, hey, last time we really stunk it up and we got beat badly, we went on a 4-game run against, beat one at Michigan. They beat Purdue, and those, and they beat Iowa twice. But I mean, those are the kind of games you're going to have to win in the NCAA tournament. And so they feel like, hey, if we can win 4 in a row, we feel pretty good about that. Now, it's not going to be that easy because probably that third game is going to be against somebody like Maryland, even if it is Maryland. So, yeah, it's not going to be Iowa or Michigan or probably Purdue. So, teams like that. So they're going to have to find a way to play better. But Brad Underwood mentioned that that's something that really feels like this might have been a good thing for them to see, kind of a one-and-done scenario where they understand that you can't go through the motions. Like you have to bring it at every time, and you have to understand how important that is. And in talking to him after the game, that's what he kind of said. That's what going to be our focus for the next 2 days till they find out who they're going to play, and then they're going to go from there.
Can I say something real quick? It's something that KP said earlier when he was talking about dogs. But I expect Boswell and Morris Jr. to make that comment about we bounce back. Well, who I would love to hear that from is KJ. I would love to hear him say that, because then that let me know where his mental is. I expect that from the other two, but when he says it'll feel a little different. Or if the big boys say, well, we're going to bounce back because we had this, or we're going to be ready to go. It's just a different mindset that I can see from those guys. So I understand Boswell said, I always felt like Boswell got that dog in him. I always think Merez Johnson has that dog in him. So I'll be expecting those two to say that. I want to hear other people say that off that team. Do they truly believe that? That's all I want to say.
I agree with you, Marcus. It's a great point.
So do I.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see that, and I think that's what will figure into where KJ is going to go in the draft. And I think people, if I read the comments here, I think people have to figure out we don't have propaganda. We don't go, oh, KJ. We haven't dreamed up that KJ is going to be a top 10 pick. We just look at all the different draft prognostications out there, and that's where he's at. So we're just telling you where he's at right now. Now, that doesn't mean that he won't go, 25th. But right now, if you had to bet money, it would be a relatively safe bet that he's going to go in the top 10. Now, every day is a new data point, and there'll be other data points afterwards. But right now, he's expected to go 5th, 6th, or 7th right now in the draft. Brad?
Yeah. The one thing I'll say about those guys work their butts off. They want to win. And I know they're not the same as Boswell or Merez, but they do work hard. They do want to win. I mean, Will Riley's in the gym constantly. And the other thing I would say is that one thing about KJ was that first play of the second half really helped me understand that if you saw him in that first play, there's like a play where the ball gets on the floor. He's diving on the floor. He got a foul. That was the kind of play. Now, the thing is, it took till the start of the second half for him to do that. I think that's the issue, because he realized at halftime, hey, we're getting our ass kicked. I got to come out and I got to do something, which was good. But at the same time, like Marcus says, that's got to be his mindset from the tip. You know what I mean? He's got to have that mindset. And I think that's where he needs to kind of make that next step. And you hope he does it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, totally agree with that. So what does the schedule look like for them now, Brad? What are they going to do? Are they going to have some sort of team watch party for the picks on Sunday night? And then how do they line up their practice and travel for the next week?
Yeah, so they're going to be so they'll go back home. I don't know if they're going back tonight, or they might be going back tonight actually. But they're going to go back and then they're going to get some stuff done tomorrow and Sunday. And then Sunday they're going to have a team watch party, but it's going to be private. And then Brad and some of the guys will meet with the media after they get their selection announcement. So I'll be over there for that. Then on it's actually right before the women's selection show, and the women are having a kind of a special thing for their announcement. So over there also as well. So we'll be over there for that too Sunday night. So pretty exciting stuff when you kind of see, at least they're, you're in the tournament. Now you got a chance to see where you're at. I think, and then you just see where you're playing. Then you go from there, whether it's a Tuesday, Thursday game or a Thursday, Saturday game, whether it's a Friday, Sunday game. I've seen a lot of projections with them in Milwaukee. But man, that would be fantastic. I think you'd be shocked at how good they would, how good the Illinois fans travel, and that might be like almost, even though you may have a team that's considered the home team there, I think Illinois would have a pretty good draw there and have a really good fan base if they were in Milwaukee.
I'll be there.
There we go.
Yeah,
Can we get you to play some center?
Well, my knees, how many knee surgeries I done had, one trip up down the court, I'm down.
Yeah, we may only need that much. Just anything you can give us, Marcus.
But I promise you, I will hit somebody.
That is not hard to believe. And folks, if you weren't old enough to see Marcus play, that was probably, and I would argue probably of all the Illini teams that we've had over the years, his era would be what I call the most physical of any Illini era. Ted, Brad, you guys agree?
I agree with that. I'll tell you, if you want to see him, when my daughter first met, she's 26 now. When she first met Marcus Griffith in Peoria, she's like, Dad, who is that big guy? I pulled my phone out, and I'm telling you listeners this, Marcus Griffith and his games, they're on YouTube. Because my daughter's like, that's that guy? So if you want to see you young tenderonies out there want to see how good Marcus Griffith was, go to YouTube because you can see it. It is there.
You can see high school games, all types.
I'm going to tell you what. One of my favorite things to do was rest in peace, Coach McLean. But I remember watching Coach McLean take these guys through a pre-game workout on the morning of a game. And I'm telling you what, those dudes got after it in the morning before a game, even through a walkthrough. It wasn't a walkthrough, a sprint through. But I was watching, they do this little drill where they, Marcus, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you said this drill, you go to the elbow and then spin and go down the lane. And then just do this little warm-up drill. Then in the game, Marcus drives to the lanes, does the spin, and goes in and dunks. And I went, that's what they're working on this morning. I was like, it was fantastic. So, yeah, Marcus.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, to say that, like I had Coach McLean in high school, people do not understand how hard our practices was. From summertime, like to be mentally prepared, and then it just transitioned to Illinois. Because trust me when I tell you, while everybody else was enjoying summer breaks and doing all that good stuff, Coach McLean never allowed us to have a summer break off. We was in a gym with no AC, pounding that pavement every single day. And you saw a little bit of it when you saw Coach McLean workout. If you ever came to U of I and saw him working out those guys before games, it just gives me flashbacks to even think about it.
Yeah, those are some good memories. I mean, as Illini fans, my memory goes back. I think the first of the great Illini teams in my memory was the 83-84 team with Ephraim and Bruce Douglas. I think Harper might have still been on that team, the one that got totally hosed by having to play Kentucky at Kentucky to go to the Final Four. And they also got victimized by a non-call that really in the last 30 seconds of the game that should have iced it for the Illini. Then you go, of course, to the 89 Flying Illini, who Marcus is not going to like this, but if there was a team I'd put my money on, if you had an all Illini tournament, I'd put it on them. Then you got Marcus's team.
Man, that's harsh, Mike. I can't believe you go against Marcus like that. Come on.
I go against Marcus like that because we're not in the same room.
No.
If we were in the same room.
He's not telling the truth. He don't mean that.
The best thing we ever had was when we had all those dudes at the was it Kenny and then D and then Marcus.
Yeah.
And they're going back and forth, 89, 01, 05, and they're just going up back. That was the coolest thing, hearing those guys go at it, man.
And
that was fun.
I will say this till I'm blue in the face. It'll be about the pace of the game. The teams that can control the backboards in any one of those series will win the game. I will take my size, our size, Illinois' 01 size, how mean we was, how tough we was, how physical we was, how when you threw that ball on the backboard, you had to be ready to go. I will take that. If we do not rebound the ball, both of those teams will run us out the gym because they're going to get up and down the floor. They're going to get athletic. 05 team is going to shoot a bunch of threes. They're going to get up and down the floor. D is going to be trying to get out in transition. The 89 squad, they had a trio of just gigantic guards from the three man to the 2 man to the point guard. But again, we had size at the back in our forwards and our centers. So like I said, you throw that ball on the backboard, that's who's going to be determined who's going to win. And I will take 01 all day long, every day, twice on Sunday.
Griff, I got a question. Chris, I got a question for you. Griff, I got a question for you. And if I'm wrong, tell me. Were you on the team when you guys played Arizona when they shot like 54,000 free throws? Was that your group?
Yes.
You want to send me in depression?
No, because here's why I'm asking. Because here's why. Back then, back in the day when I was like 10 years old when that happened, being sarcastic, did you feel as a player that we just got cheated? I don't give a damn what anybody says.
1,000%.
Okay, can you tell us why you thought you got cheated? Because fans have always asked me, and now there's a player who can explain it. What happened and why do you think you got cheated?
Okay, so let's say, how many Big Ten basketball games do you say we played that year? We went to the Big Ten tournament and we had all our regular season games.
18 plus 4, so like 22.
Yeah. So we've had enough of how physical we were. What changed in that game that we had 50 some odd fouls called against us? When in no game, that was probably 20, 25 more than we done played against Michigan State at the Hall. 2 physical bruising teams with Zach Randolph and those boys. Nobody shot 50-something free throws. So we was like, why all of a sudden in this game at this point, if referees was mad at how physical we was, they could have checked us months ago. Was like, guys, y'all play too physical. We're going to start calling this a little tighter. Y'all need to stop. We never had those conversations with the officiating. Never once. They got into that game because of Lou Olson got on the news and say, oh, they are physical. They play a rough game of basketball. Refs are human. Refs are going to read that stuff.
Yep.
And it put it in their minds that, oh, okay, that forearm is a little bit too hard. That chest is a little bit too much. So there was some real fouls in that game too. Now, I'm not going to say we wasn't fouling, but we wasn't fouling like that to have 6 people foul out of a semifinal, like to go to the Final Four. No, never.
Okay. All right. I was just curious because I knew it was, I think it was 50. God. I think it was 54 or something like that.
That was a record at the time. I don't know if it's.
I fouled out and I was on TV. I was watching on TV.
I say we was, oh my God, because I think we lost to Duke by 3 that year. We had split with Arizona and then they won that last game. We beat, who else was in the Final Four? Michigan State?
Yeah, I think so. Because that was the year they won it.
And Maryland, wasn't it?
Because they won it. Michigan State, that's the last time the Big Ten has ever won a championship. It was 2000.
No, that was 99. That was 2000. Yep, that was 2000. Yeah, we talk about 2001. Yep.
2000. And Maryland won in what, 02?
Yep.
Whenever in the ACC.
Whew, that was a rough game.
Yeah.
If we would have just, if we would just been mature, okay, guys, the referees are calling it like this. We need to change on the fly. But we were so in the moment, we just couldn't flip the switch.
And you would have got a chance to play if you had beat that Arizona team. You would have had your opportunity to go ahead and then play Michigan State again.
We would have beat them again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so. So this is what we get at Illini, guys. We try to talk about it, and when I hear people say that Illinois fans have PTSD, it comes from that because we got a chance to see that Dickie Beal non-call on a 7-step travel or whatever it was that everybody couldn't see. At least the referee right there couldn't see. We got to see the Austin P game. We got to watch Finis Dembo lead Wyoming over Illinois. There was just all these weird moments. The 9,000 fouls in 2001. The fact that Augustine, before the opening tip, had 3 fouls against North Carolina. So we've seen everything down to we can't review.
What was the dude's
call.
name? Pace Mannion.
Pace Mannion in 1 year and Finis Dembo the next year. As a freshman in high school or whatever I was in that year, maybe junior high, we would stay up late.
You were
to
like
watch
25
the
then. You were like 25 then.
Exactly.
Don't lie.
We would stay up late. Like, the Illini are playing at 10 o'clock. The Illini and we're like, who is Pace Mannion and how are they beating this Illinois team that's so good? So yeah, and then of course, you remember, you guys are too young to remember this, Marcus, but then Dick Vitale, before the Austin P game, if these guys beat the Illini, I will stand on my head in the middle of the assembly hall. Next year, he's got to get a little towel and stand on his head because Austin P beat him in the NCAA. I mean, it was just that's where Ellen. That's why when I said the matchups are really important. That's what I was like.
No question. And don't you think, like, you look at this team and you look in this tournament, and I think matchups are huge, but they're also, it's. You just, like Brad Underwood said, you got to keep putting yourself in a position every year. Last year, they put themselves in a position. I think had they been a 3 seed in a different region, not with UConn or Purdue, I think they could have been in the Final Four. I think they were just
championship game against UConn.
Yeah, exactly. And so, so I think sometimes it's matchups, sometimes it's luck. So they get a good draw here, and you never know what can happen. And you just got to go out and play. And I just hope it's close enough that I can drive there, so I don't have to get on an airplane again.
They just gotta be like, they gotta look in the mirror and say, we gotta bring it. We gotta bring the dog, because you're not going to win a national championship scoring 90 points. It's going to be how many times you can keep a team under their average. That's how they're going to score. That's how they're going to get to a Final Four. If they're giving up 80, 90 points a game in this tournament, it's going to be a quick tournament. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. They got to play some defense like they ain't played since maybe Oregon game.
Yep. I think that's probably a good thing to end on, folks. We just hit the hour mark. I tell you what, that was great. We have Marcus on. We get a chance to talk about things that you just can't talk about as guys who have covered the team, and obviously we've coached at lower levels. But when you get that. When you get you get to this time, you get memories from a guy who's been there on a team that was probably arguably one of the 4 best teams in the country and got hosed over because Lute Olson was retiring or whatever was going on. I can't remember if that was the year his wife had cancer or if that was the year he was retiring.
Yes.
So, the referees anyway, but so it is a, yeah. Okay. And we're going to close with this.
I know what you're going to put up there. I knew it.
Can you be at practice tomorrow with the 01, 05, and 1989 guys and speak to this year's guys?
I knew that was coming. I saw that.
It would be cool. They should have some of those guys come and talk to them.
Good point.
Maybe,
Illinois has such a tradition.
Bring somebody in. They have so many guys like this. Have Marcus come down there. Have D. Brown come down there. Have Darren Williams will fly back and talk to them. You got all these guys that can have come in there, and just talk about toughness and how what it's like playing one and done. Shoot, you bring Terrence Shannon, talk to him.
I will do that without the coaches.
They need that, Griff. They do.
They do.
Yes, I would want to just do it with the players, because that's when you're gonna get the real raw emotion. You're gonna see what the temperature truly is. Leave the coaches out. Coaches will go do coaches things, and then let an ex-player talk to the players.
Yep. Well, hey, folks, that was. We will have a NCAA preview podcast either Sunday night or Monday night. We have to see when we can get everybody together, and we will talk about it. Of course, we will have coverage with Brad at the game. Ked and I will be covering remotely. You know, we got to keep the costs affordable for everything. Certainly, if you want to subscribe and be an Illini Guys member, that helps us with all those type of things so that we can afford the airfare or, pay the insurance when Brad hitchhikes to a NCAA site. So we want to make sure.
Got to do.
Got to get there some kind of way.
Yeah. And Marcus, maybe you just need to show up over at Ubben and just make
it's a possibility.
Speech. Yep.
I definitely want to get to practice. KP got the hookup for me so I could get in the building this time around. So
just let me know. Yep, I got you.
Yep. So we will be back Sunday or Monday night. So be looking for that. And again, we have certainly enjoyed this regular season has been up and down, but it's kind of what we predicted for you when we said they have a high ceiling and a low floor, and we have seen with the Michigan game on the road and the Oregon game on the road that the ceiling can be very high. And with what we saw tonight and what we saw against Duke, the floor can be really low. Been a heck of a regular season. Now we have to hope for the guys to play well and the matchups to be beneficial, but that's no different than any other year in the NCAA tourney. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. And, of course, we will be back. And until then, go Illini.